What is up, my friends? How are we? And you are very welcome back after Liverpool suffer their first defeat of this Premier League campaign. It finished at Anfield, Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Want to start off by congratulating Nottingham Forest on their victory. I thought they defended really well, took their goal very well when it came about. Great strike from Hudson-Odoi. So full credit to Nottingham Forest and their manager for their performance. I don't want to scapegoat any one particular person. I'm not going to look to blame the referee or anybody else. Today, Liverpool need to look internally. Liverpool need to take this one on the chin. We were the reason we didn't win that game today and nobody else. Over the course of the next few minutes, I'm going to do my best to take you through my thoughts on the game, give you some of the statistics around it, and of course, we'd love to know your thoughts. We are being brought to you today with thanks to our amazing sponsors at Manscaped. You can get yourself 20% off and free shipping store-wide. That's 20% off and free shipping, whether it's the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker Ear and Nose Hair Trimmer, the Lawnmower 5.0, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit, or anything else at manscaped.com. Our friends have got you covered with an amazing discount of 20% and free shipping by using our code ANFIELD20 at checkout. Look, let's start off by looking at some of the underlying numbers from this game today. Even though we lost the game by a goal to nil, Liverpool did have the majority of possession, 70% to Nottingham Forest 30. Liverpool had 14 shots with only 5 of those on target. Nottingham Forest 5 shots, 3 on target. Liverpool completed 591 passes today to Nottingham Forest 262. Corners, Liverpool 7, Nottingham Forest 2. XG for the game, Liverpool at 0.87 and Nottingham Forest at 0.6. But all of that is irrelevant because the only statistic that matters in a game of football is the scoreline, and Nottingham Forest took the victory. It is an awful come down from the high before the international break. Beating United 3-0, heading into that international break, everybody was full of beans. We've come back and we've looked nowhere near the level we did beforehand. I think a lot of us can understand the first 45 minutes. Sometimes you are slow after an international break to get back up to speed. I've got to say, I was incredibly disappointed, particularly with the second half, the lack of impact from the substitutions. But most importantly, some of the attitudes out there didn't look great today. Trent seemed to be taking his frustrations out on the referee, and there was a lot of shoulder shrugging and moaning and chatting back to the referee. I think if we're being honest about all of this, we need to look inwardly today. I'm not trying to overreact and throw Arne Slot under a bus either, because this is the first setback. For me, the tale of Arne Slot's era is going to come with how we react to days like today. We all know that we should be looking to beat Nottingham Forest at home. When you go into an international break with 3 wins from 3, haven't conceded a goal, you're feeling invincible. You come back then and you're brought down to earth very quickly with a reminder that the Premier League is a very competitive league and you've got to be at it week in and week out. We didn't have a 12:30 kickoff. We can't use that as an excuse. Everybody who's at the top level of football loses players during international breaks. They travel all over the world. They come back and sometimes you've got to win ugly. Today, we didn't do that. And we've got to look inwardly. If we're going to go through the team and look at the players, we'll start off from front to back if you don't mind. Diogo Jota, I don't think he looked great today. He had a chance in the first half where he got himself in between a couple of Nottingham Forest defenders. I believe it was Trent who found him with a cross. He got a touch on it, but it was straight at the keeper. On the other side, left-hand side, Luis Diaz, I thought, again, always tried to take his man on, trying to make something happen. Did hit the post with an opportunity. But right across the front line, all the way over to Mo on the right, the mistakes were creeping in. The confidence didn't look there. The wide players in particular weren't going past Nottingham Forest defenders, and you've got to credit the defenders for that. But I want to just talk about Mohamed Salah today for a second. I'm not trying to scapegoat him because there are other players I'm going to move and talk about in a while. But I don't know where this Mo came from today because he looked completely devoid of confidence. His touch, which is usually really assured, was off. His decision making on when to shoot and when to pass looked very strange. And even when he was taking those shots, they were terrible. He just didn't look himself. And I don't know if it was fatigue or anything else, but we didn't really have options from the bench today that were able to come on and change the game. The manager made 5 substitutions, the most he's allowed to do. 3 came on at one point, 2 at another. And let's be honest about this. Not one of those substitutes impacted the game in an overly positive way. Darwin came on and continued to look like he's struggling for form. Going to a back three I thought was very strange as well. It seemed more like a roll of the dice in desperation. The players didn't really look like they knew how to react to that. Moving back into midfield a little bit. If there's one player today who I think maybe can take some credit from that game, I would say that it's Ryan Gravenberch. I don't really feel that he was bad today. I feel it was more the fact that McAllister and Szoboszlai around him weren't at the levels we know that they're capable of. Back defensively, Robbo concerns me on the left side. It just doesn't look the same all-conquering, attack-minded fullback that he has in recent seasons. I don't know if Father Time is catching up with him. I just don't know. Trent on the right-hand side didn't have the impact today that we know he can have in games with his distribution. That at times looked off today. I don't really have too many complaints about the centre-backs today. I thought Virgil and Ibu were pretty decent in all honesty. If we can look at Nottingham Forest goal for a moment, again it came from what I believe is our Achilles heel and has been for a very long time, which is turning over possession when we're attacking and being countered. That's how their goal came about today. Now look, that's simplifying it a little bit. They still had a lot to do, Forest. They made the right decisions, but we tried to play a ball in the final third. It didn't make its intended target. Forest countered, worked the ball out to the right-hand side. They then switched to the cross to the left-hand side, and this is where I do have a little bit of a critique of Conor Bradley. He allowed Hudson-Odoi to cut inside onto his right foot and get that shot away without a challenge or a block, and that's the part of this that I feel we could have improved on there. Bradley could have either taken down Hudson-Odoi or at the very least got a challenge or an attempt at a block in. He didn't, and after that it was just a great finish from Callum Hudson-Odoi. Bended it into the corner and Alisson never got near it. That's the story of the game. And after that, we never, ever, ever looked like that equaliser was coming. Slot made the changes, as I said. Some strange ones, obviously. Costas coming on. Canade going off. They didn't impact the game one bit. And that's worrying. Because we can talk about the starting 11, and we have had a very consistent start to this season. Starting 11 was the same again today, so it isn't a case of the players not understanding their job or each other. They've played together and they've won together this season. It's frustrating, and I'm going to come back to the transfer window, because when you aren't playing games like today, and when the players that are normally good and that you can normally rely on, for whatever reason aren't at it, you need to be able to look to that bench and feel like the bench is going to give you the opportunity or the option to come on and make a difference. And let's take a look through the Liverpool options on the bench today. Joe Gomez didn't even get a chance. So I felt he could have started the game, but didn't get a chance to come on. Wataru Endo has been pretty much frozen out since Arne Slot came in. So in an ideal world, I don't think Slot would even have him on the bench as an option. Didn't look to bring him on today in midfield. That, I think, speaks volumes. Darwin Núñez, well, we've been asking, is Darwin going to get the start after the international break? Is he going to be good enough? The answer was he didn't get the start, but he did get a chance, and he came on, and it was just same old with Darwin, just not up to the speed of the game and looking like he doesn't really understand what's needed of him out there. Curtis Jones, I don't think is good enough to play for Liverpool Football Club. I've said this for many years. He did have a purple patch where he played really well, and we were happy to give him his credit for that, but now he seems back to the same Curtis Jones that will be stop-start because of injuries and stuff like that. Cody Gakpo, again, you could have made an argument for Cody to get the start today, but when he came on, he wasn't able to impact the game either. Kelleher, well look, that was going to be if Ali had an injury, so nothing was going to happen there. Costas came on, he did nothing. So where are the options that are really going to come on and change a game for Liverpool, particularly in midfield? Elliott wasn't out there today, so that's one injury, and already our options to come on and be creative from midfield were limited. We'd seen Arne Slot having to push Trent into midfield. If that isn't an indictment of our transfer policy and the lack of squad depth, I don't know what is. Squad depth to me doesn't just mean having bums to fill out the bench or having bums to put on seats. It means having players who can come on and you can realistically hope and expect will change or make a difference to a game. We do have some of those players. Gakpo could usually be somebody that could come on and do that. But let's be honest about this. That's not a bench that's going to strike fear into opposing teams. Yes, Federico Chiesa has still got to come back on and be added to this. But for me right now, my friends, that is, again, an indictment of why we needed to add in this transfer window. That's all I really have to say on the squad depth, because we can't do anything about it now. We are where we are until January. But if you take today's loss and you add into it the contract renewals that haven't been started yet, the body language out there of Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's not hard for other people, opposition fans, the media, to start jumping onto Liverpool and trying to paint a picture of things maybe starting to become a little bit rocky. A big game coming up on Tuesday away at the San Siro against AC Milan in the Champions League. A game where we've got to now go and try to get 3 points from, because a draw or a loss and questions are going to be raised again, and the temperament of these guys is going to be under question. So again, I would say to the club, whatever the decision is that the club are going to make, and we'll all have our own thoughts about it, make these decisions known soon, whether it is Trent's going to be moving on. And if he is going to be moving on, which of course we don't want, we want him to stay, then start giving Bradley the opportunity, start playing Bradley, make a decision on Mohamed Salah, make a decision on Virgil van Dijk, because over the season, these questions, these issues, these problems are just going to keep rearing their head up. It's going to be a distraction and it's going to cause frustration. That's genuinely how I feel about it all right now. I can't say this enough though. Today was not about Michael Oliver. It was not about Nuno Espirito Santo. It was not about Nottingham Forest. It was about us. Forest deserve their credit. They did their job. They will go home to Nottingham with their fans and be over the moon for a deserved victory. From our side, lots of questions to answer. How do we go from the all-conquering team that went to Old Trafford and played and won at a canter and looked like we could have won even easier without getting out of second or third gear, to that at home in front of an expectant Anfield, 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday, and we looked devoid of confidence, we looked devoid of ideas, and we just looked like we just met each other out there on the pitch. It was very strange, and it's going to be interesting to see how the boys and Arne Slot react to this. I hope they're going to react in the way that we all want them to, which is by coming out and putting this right and going to the San Siro and getting a victory over AC Milan. But at this point, we really don't know. But the games are coming thick and fast, and the boys don't have time to feel sorry for themselves. They're going to have to figure it out, and figure it out quickly. I want to know all of your thoughts on this though. So whether you're listening to this as a podcast, I'd love you to let us know on X or on Instagram. If you're watching this back as a video on YouTube, I'd love us to let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We're going to be bantered for today by opposition fans, and look, we have to take it on the chin. What I would say is, please don't look for a single scapegoat today. Don't be looking to throw Darwin under the bus, or Salah under the bus, or Szoboszlai under the bus. It's a collective failure. We win as a team, we lose as a team. And yes, there will be days where some of the players have an off day. But when you start to have 2, 3, 4, 5 of those guys having an off day, that's when it becomes very worrying. And today was one of those days. I really am worried about Trent though. I don't know what conversations, if any, are going on behind the scenes, but I do know I don't like the look of his body language at times. I didn't like it, as I'm sure many of you didn't, when he was substituted and he looked a little bit displeased, even though we were winning at the time. That I can make an allowances for, to say, well look, no player wants to come off the pitch. Everybody wants to stay out there and play. But today, he was looking very tetchy, very belligerent towards the referee for stuff that I don't even think the referee was doing incorrectly. If the referee tells Trent to get back 5 yards from a throw-in, then fella, get back 5 yards and take that throw-in. Standing there shouting at him and debating with him is not going to do you any favours. At the end of the game, straight up in the referee's face again, complaining about it. It's our fault. It's the players, the manager, together, collectively, that failed. Not the ref, not Forest. It's on us. You know that we had a start to the campaign where, statistically, under the analysis of The Athletic, Liverpool had the easiest start of all 20 Premier League teams. We had the opportunity to go 5 from 5. We beat Manchester United away from home. We turned it around against Ipswich from half-time 0-0 to go and win. And we won our second game against Brentford. All of that was pointing towards us then hopefully beating Forest and then going and backing that up with a victory against Bournemouth next weekend. Right now, 5 from 5's out the window. We've 9 points from 12, and we've got to put it right and make sure that that's 12 points from 15 when we play. Obviously, this weekend is a North London derby as well. We would have been hoping as Liverpool fans that we can continue to win and hope Arsenal drop more points, pushing them a little bit more away from the title race. Right now, Manchester City are going to be brimming with confidence. Haaland scored, I think, a brace again today for them and their victory. And it does look like it's going to be Manchester City steamrolling their way to another league title unless something changes very quickly from us and from Arsenal's side. This could have been a weekend where we look to put a bit of distance between us and Arsenal, but unfortunately, if they win at the weekend, we're now behind them by a point in the league, and the international break has cost us. It in its entirety, or in its own entity, hasn't cost us, but the disjointed nature of it, we haven't been able to figure out. And that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm not blaming the international break, because every club has that, but we didn't react to it and weren't able to grind out a victory. You won't go through 38 games, play perfectly and win at a canter every single week. Sometimes you've got to go out there and grind it out. And today, when we needed to go out there and grind it out, we just weren't able to. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it all. But of course, I'd love to know where you guys are at with it. I'm going to go and record the Anfield Agenda player rating. So if you're watching this on YouTube, keep an eye out for that one. We would love you to hit that subscribe button and drop a like as well. If you're listening to this podcast on your favourite podcast platform, do note that we are going to be live in Liverpool November 15th at the Hot Water Comedy Club for another live show. You can get your tickets either if you're listening on a podcast with the link in the podcast description, or if you're watching us on YouTube in the description of this video. Tickets are priced at 20 quid and it is an all ages event, meaning everybody is free to come along and join us. Thank you to our sponsors as well, Manscaped. Don't forget you can get yourself a magnificent 20% off and free shipping, even if stuff's already on sale at manscaped.com, by using our code Anfield20 at checkout. Keep an eye out for those player ratings, and I should be probably back tonight at 8:45 as well for a late night agenda, where once I've had a chance to decompress after this game, I'll give you some more in-depth thoughts on that later on this evening. Thank you for watching and listening, and yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Much love, my friends. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.